of all, it's your sis Shay Says, and welcome back. If you're like me, then you can't wait to get back into the world, have fun, and just live life this summer. But we don't want to spend our stimulus checks and all of our savings in one place. That's why we need a budget. Here to give us an easy and accessible way to stick to the budget is the co-founder of Qube, Shane Walker. Welcome, Shane. How are you?
Thank you, Shay. I'm doing great. Doing very good.
Great. So I'm excited to talk about Qube. My first question to you is, if you want to spend responsibly, how can Qube help any one of us?
Absolutely. So, Shay, it's really interesting. You know, when you look at financial health, it's pretty simple. Spend less than you make, right? That's what it comes down to. And what Qube does is it allows you to have the control of spending with cash, but the convenience and security of spending with a card, ultimately. Okay. So it changes the environment of money so that you really have real-time awareness of the purpose of your money, so that you can spend with purpose. And I mean, we can go into more detail on that, but that's what it does.
Interesting. So, I hear that outside is open this summer. And for me, I'm definitely a foodie. I want to go to the restaurants. I want to be able to eat out again. So does Qube hold me responsible so I can't overspend when eating out or something like that? Like, how does it go?
That's a great question. So are you familiar with the cash envelope method of spending? Like the old Dave Ramsey talked about it, but it's what all of our parents and grandparents used back before there were cards, before there were credit cards. It gives you that same control. So let me kind of go through that real quick. So back in the day, there weren't cards. And so what money you had is what you had to spend, right?
Right.
And so you would take that out in the form of cash. You would organize it in envelopes for entertainment, for groceries, for fuel, things like that. And then each time you went to spend, you would look in that envelope and you would give the cashier the money. And there was that exchange, and it was real, right? And the money was out of your envelope and it was given to the store. And so once you ran out, you were out, right?
Right.
And so there's three things about cash envelopes that make it so effective. It's the most effective budgeting methodology in the world, and it's been proven for centuries. But in today's world, in the cashless environment we live in, it's very hard to follow. But the three things that it does is, one, you give every dollar a job before you spend it. Like when you get your check, you say, okay, this is for this, this is for this, this is for this. And then the second thing is, when you go to spend, you look at your money before you spend. And that's critical. It happens before the spend, instead of all of the tools that exist today are all after the fact tracking tools, and they just make you feel guilty because you've already spent the money. It's kind of like tracking calories. You ate the donut. When you track that, it doesn't feel good because you already ate the donut, right?
I love that analogy. I love that.
You need that before, right? You need that before. And then the final thing is your money and your budget are the same thing.
Right.
So it's real. When it's gone, it's gone. So what we did in Qube is simply replicate those principles digitally, so that you have that same experience. When the money comes into your bank, Qube is a bank. We're an FDIC. We're partnered with an FDIC chartered bank. Nice. When the money comes in, it comes into what we call as the cloud, the Qube cloud. You can see that right. That's what is representing on this screen. And before you can spend it, you have to allocate that money into your Qubes, which are simply digital envelopes. So the cloud is simply unallocated funds without purpose. When you allocate those into your Qubes, now there's purpose for that money. And to spend that money, you simply tap the dollar amount in that Qube. And when that happens, immediately that money becomes available on your Qube card. So otherwise, if you process that card, it declines because there's no money on the Qube.
Interesting.
That makes sense? Yeah. So, and once you process the card, like any other card, it immediately returns the card to a default zero balance, and whatever's left over after the transaction goes back into the Qube, so you know in real time how much money is left in that Qube for the rest of the month or rest of the budgeting period, and the transaction is ledgered in real time. So there's no more need for tracking after the fact. So really what you're doing is you're spending a microsecond before, like opening an app and tapping to spend, instead of spending all the time afterwards trying to figure out where you spent your money and tracking your money afterwards.
Nice. So my question as well is Cuba a good place to save money too? Since you said like it is a bank, so can we save as well?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. So there, a lot of people use it to save for their sink funds, as
Nice.
well as like, so for what sink funds are, that's that money that you're saving for a family trip or
Yeah.
for, Christmas or for a 6 month insurance premium, you pay every 6 months.
Hmm.
In fact, we just were featured in Business Insider, and a couple out of Las Vegas,
Wow.
Bonnie, a stay-at-home mom, they saved $4,000 their first month using Qube because
Wow.
it changed the environment of their money. It changed little slight changes in the way they spend, but it gave them the control they needed to make better decisions.
Love that. So, can you tell us exactly what to expect when we open the app and how can we keep our summer spending under control?
Yeah, absolutely. So, are you talking about when you first created an
An
account with
account,
Qube?
yes, and we
Yeah,
are like trying to maneuver into the new app.
yeah, absolutely. So, when the sign up process is really easy. It takes less than a
Okay.
minute. I think my
Nice.
son, who's 18, did it in 35 seconds.
Wow.
So it's simply setting up a bank account. So that because it's a banking environment, you do put in some personal information like social security number and address because we have to verify that you're you according to the bank regs. Okay.
Hmm.
But once you're approved for an account, we protect you and make sure it's you
Okay.
because fraud is real. So once that happens, then the app takes you to deposit money, and there's multiple ways to deposit money. You can set up direct deposit, actually, which gives you your paycheck 2 days early, or
Nice.
you can connect your account through Plaid, which
Okay.
is the same way almost all app to bank connections happen. Plaid is the largest company in the world.
Hmm.
Or you can do an instant deposit with a card, with another debit card or credit card, an instant deposit up to $250 in the Qube.
Cool.
That money goes into your cloud. And
Hmm.
so the next step is simply give it purpose. So that just put it in a Qube, create a Qube, put it in your Qube, and then you tap to spend. And like I said, the card is immediately, actually, when you sign